Hello there, and welcome back to Isla Napali. Damn, I shouldn't have ate chocolate before the stream. This makes my mouth very, I don't know. Anyways, in today's video, we are going to talk about some new additions to Isla Napali and also how the whole season is going to continue. But first of all, now sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. Great, so here we are back. I just nipped a little bit on my water. Hopefully it's gonna make my mouth a bit more, I don't know. I just recorded something very, very cool together with a person you do know quite well, which will be out in a couple of days. But for the moment, I just felt it's necessary to just have this video out because Isla Napali has been paused for a bit. Actually not paused, but the real time-lapse videos. And I feel like I have to talk about this again, even though I did last time, but I feel it's really important to talk about it again. Many people do say that this is still one of their most favorite series on YouTube, and I have to admit, after being a bit more confused about the views recently, I have to say the views are still very awesome, considering that Planet Coaster at the moment doesn't really have any kind of push at all, which, I mean, even I feel it that I really want to play Planet Zoo right now and not Planet Coaster. But I had a very long talk with my brother about Planet Coaster, how it is, and actually my brother also moved away from Planet Coaster a month ago. He's complaining about some things that I'm not really interested in too much, but he's more like the coaster enthusiast and the theme park operation enthusiast, so the lack of, for example, Twitch tracks and stuff makes him really well, pissed, I shouldn't say, because it's he does understand why it's a hard thing to implement, but it's something that keeps him away from playing it even more, and also the lack of customizations regarding the coaster builder. And we were like having a talk about so many things that you know we would love to see in a future Planet Coaster game, and also what we should have had potentially in this game. Because again, even though I love the game quite a bit, and you all know about my connection to Frontier, which I don't really even hide away, you know, it's there, it's happening. I like the people there quite a bit. I'm very good friends with Bo, not even just on a business level, but we are actual friends. So obviously, yes, in that kind of sense, I'm pretty much biased because I like the person. It's just simple as that. But I feel like, and if you don't believe me by now, you potentially will never believe me. You know that I will always say my honest opinion about things, and the one thing I always said is that lack of management in this game is pretty obvious. And me and my brother, we did agree on the fact that this is something they have to tackle in the future. And I think more often than not, I'm really missing some kind of things like more interactive things for the guests, for example. Like, you know, talking about the restaurants and hotels, they're kind of cool in terms of being an addition, but are they really good in terms of what they deliver and what they are like standing for? I mean, just in general, I believe that those additions were not they were like half-baked. Like, they added some kind of stuff, but way too late. You know, they would have been great from the get-go, because then you can also say why the functionality is the way it is, but they lack obviously a little bit of customization options to it, and these kind of things are like, I didn't even use them too much. I used them in this park because I wanted to add so much realism to it, but hell, I even built like a whole hotel around it with no functionality, just to have it more realistic. And this is something that Planet Zoo will hopefully improve, but also another game of the Planet Coaster franchise, like maybe a second iteration of it, would hopefully make it better. But also we agreed on the fact that there are a lot of other things that Planet Coaster is lacking, and something about the water rides, for example, and coaster stations. Like, I know about the fact that coaster stations are something very hard to do. I had a lot of talks about this with the devs and why things are the way they are, but at the very end, I really would love to see different versions or different variants of stations. Like, there are just so many rides out there in the open world of theme parks that do have separated entrance and exit stations. Then we have the round dish, everyone knows about the river rapids having this kind of round rotating dish, for example. Everyone knows about also log flumes having different kind of attempts. Some have the roundish ones, some have normal ones, and you know, all these kind of things. Like, there is a lot of flexibility in, but you know, all these kind of things start to appear a little bit, yeah, I can't read. It's hard to put in words. Like, don't get me wrong, I still love the game, and we also, now to make it a bit more positive, I guess, we also agreed on that Planet Coaster actually, and people keep forgetting about this, Planet Coaster added so many great things that have never been seen before in a coaster theme park management game, however you want to call it. But just take, for example, the wooden coasters. Like, yeah, I do get why people are still complaining about stuff, but hey, we got a more or less like spline based coaster builder that come on, it automatically creates like all the wooden structures and stuff. Like, the water rides are in general done very nice indeed. Well, I do agree on the different slopes should be, the slope design should be different, but like a lot of these things have been improved over old games, like a lot. In total, the piece-by-piece building, yes, it's also in Roller Coaster Tycoon World, but guess what? Because they copied it from this game. It basically implemented a undo and redo feature in a sandbox game, which it changed my entire life. I basically hate every game now that doesn't have this feature. It kind of operates very nicely. It made possible that we have like huge guest flows, and honestly, yes, the guest AI at some points is weird, but at the end of the day, it's still a very good guest AI. Like, how they behave in the park, all the lovely little subtle animations, what they do, their needs and stuff like that is really nicely done. The staff members are really nicely done. The mascots and all this kind of stuff is really nicely done. Different themes, like a lot of things are really great, and I would never ever want to miss in a game like this. There were so many great little things that have been added to the game, like all the animatronics, the trigger events, and it's not like that it has never been in any other game, but the way they implemented it, people make crazy stuff with Planet Coaster that is not possible in any other game, except you are modding No Limits. And to be honest, I know that some people out there praise No Limits over everything, for everything, which I would not agree at all. Like, No Limits is by far the best coaster builder out there, full stop. I would never ever go in and say that it can, like, that Planko can even compete the slightest against it, but that's about it. It's a great coaster builder, but everything else is just like the amount of work and knowledge and skill you have to put into making more than just a coaster in No Limits, and let alone making a coaster in No Limits, by the way, is already quite a lot of work. It's not a game in that kind of sense. It's kind of a designer. It's a theme park ride designer, and everyone knows what happens to Theme Park Studio, by the way. This shows what happens if you know, give the players a too powerful tool with a too weak UI and too weak kind of gentle introduction to it. I love the idea of Theme Park Studio, but I do even own it. I still do own it, but it's, you know, it just doesn't work. And this is why I love Planet Coaster, combining so many things, make it a game where you can just create anything you want to do in the theme park. And I think it's really time to really wrap it up and say, hey, Planet Coaster as it stands is a very nice step forward into a Planet franchise, with hopefully another iteration of Planet Coaster, which fixes the biggest issues of what Planet Coaster had. We just talked about, but in general, I'm a huge fan of this game still. If there wasn't, and this is now my biggest complaint of the past couple of weeks, which I guess will never be tackled in this game, and God knows what Planet Zoo will teach us about this, but this game is, in terms of performance, not usable to the limit that I want to go to. Like, it's way too powerful in terms of what you can do in comparison to what it is optimized for. And now, please, just don't get me wrong at all. It's not that I would criticize them too much, because the game has been optimized nearly 3 years ago. for technology that they couldn't know about, which is basically every time the same in the game industry. You can't develop for something that is 3 years later. How would you even be? Best example is Crysis. They developed Crysis for a future where you don't go for multiple cores, but for a lot higher kind of clock rate of the 1 or 2 cores. So they were thinking that at a max 4 cores would be possible, but maybe dual core would be the thing of the future, clocking at like 9-10 gigahertz. That's what Crytek believed in, and that's why you can't even play on my modern system. I can't even play Crysis Warhead at a decent frame rate. It's not even possible because the game is not optimized for it and will never be. And the same goes for management games. You won't find a good management game with a lot of creative freedom that runs smoothly. Hell, not even to this day. You can even find Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 parks or SimCity levels or whatever that will eventually have problems in your modern age computers. And so this is also me about, which is about to stop complaining here, because I need to talk about this episode as well. But this is why I feel like I need to wrap this whole thing up quicker than I actually was expecting it to be. Mainly because if I play the game, I usually only stream it because it's just so much more fun to stream. So if I would not stream it but play it on my own, I would be just so mad with all the autosaves and stuff, because like literally I need the autosaves to make sure that I don't lose the footage. I just don't have time to lose footage. But on the other hand, like having these kind of weird long autosave pauses and whatever makes me just feel that this is not enjoyable at all to play. But it is. I still love it, and this is why I always go back and do all these crazy things. But my point is, I just need to wrap it up more quickly than I expected it. So yeah, from now on, I will try to finish it off in 10 episodes. You heard it. That's it. Plus fixing all the issues, which will be potentially like a huge live stream. But like 10 time-lapse episodes, and this is my target. And maybe we're even going to lose out or just like forget about some things I actually plan to do. Because again, the performance in this park at this point is like so bad that basically no people without a crazy machine will be even able to run it. It's not even doable. Like I'm still having really a lot of headaches now how to make the final video. I had a very nice idea. Like I always plan to make this video at the end of Isla Napali, a very specific video. I had this idea for like a year now, and I was like, okay, I really need to get a new computer by then, because this is something I can't do with the cheat engine. It's not gonna work with the cheat engine. This is my biggest issue here. So I will at least need to have 30 FPS, which at this point in time I'm not gonna have. So I'm not sure if I can even do the video I planned. So yeah, it's very weird. However, let's talk about the bright side of things. In today's episode, we finished something that has been here and in the orbit of our ideas for such a long time, which is the solar plant. And this is where we got most of the energy from for this island. Not saying all of it, but just most of it. I'm not even sure if that would be like closely enough, but at this point I think we should stop to kind of think about too much. We can also always think about, we have a lot of generators and you know, stuff like that, and maybe even factory or whatever. Energy plant, I don't know, but it'll work somehow. So yeah, this is what I made in this episode, like the main addition to it. We still need to make sure that this cliff over here is a bit nicer in terms of how it works together with the street. I think I'm gonna put down a lot more foliage and rocks and stuff to the side of it to make sure it looks nicer, and the rest you will see I'm always trying to also put down some more forest now to make this whole island a little more green. But yeah, so before we end today's episode, I really want to get you guys active again. Hopefully help also to trigger the algorithm a bit more with all your comments. But it's getting very, very important. Please tell me the one thing that you still want to see added in Isla Napali. The one thing that you're missing. Nothing else. The one single thing you're missing in this project and you want to see in. Because that's like the last time I'm asking for it. As an alternative, if there is nothing you would say you want to add, the one thing that bothers you the most, like the one thing you actually don't like at all. Oh my god, I need to check if my voice is still okay. Okay, that works. I just hit my microphone so hard that I was fearing it's broken again. Anyhow, the one thing that bothers you the most would be the alternative. So if you say, hey Rudi, you know what, the desalination plantage is like a nice idea, but I just don't like it because, and that's the important thing. Please give me a reason why you don't like it, and don't hesitate to put anything in. I'm not afraid of criticism at all. I want it because that's the last time I'm trying to improve the whole thing, and then I will basically go into the finishing off mode, which is then just trying to bring it all to an end. I feel like it's necessary because there is ever so much I can do with this project, and I feel like we reach a point where it's also for you guys not as exciting anymore, because you know there will be no further bigger implementation of anything, there will be no big new coaster, there will be no surprising new element I do, there will be no surprising creative idea, because it's all done, right? There's not much more to do in here, and I still enjoy this because it's so great to build in Isla Napali. It still gives me this summer Hawaiian vibe. I really love listening to the music, and yeah, it's also great, but it's just not working if like the overall context of things is not working together. So yeah, that's why basically. So yeah, as a reminder, please tell me the one thing you want to see added to this park, or alternatively, the one thing that bothers you the most, the one single thing you don't like. That would be really nice, and again, try to give me a reason why you think so, and then I hopefully can maybe fix it or give you a reason why I'm not fixing it. Anyways, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me some other feedback if you have some, and then we're gonna see each other in the next one. Until then, have a great time and bye guys. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you appreciate that, and now a special thanks also to all the people supporting me here on that channel, making this all possible. You can see that on the left hand side right now, and also if you want to see more of my stuff, make sure to click that card on the right top now, and if you want to stick around, make sure to hit that sub button which is on the bottom right of the screen. If you want to see stuff on my social media, sneak peeks and stuff like that, it is on the bottom left on the screen. And yeah, I hope to see you again in the next episode. Until then, enjoy your time guys, and bye!